know.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Anderson. This is the Coach Dryden Show here on Bedford County Sports Live. And the Coach Dryden Show, as always, is brought to you by SLC Firearms inside Shelbyville Lumber. Muzzleloader season's coming up Saturday. You got hunting season coming up. You got the holidays. They've got guns down there, believe it or not, Coach, that I saw for girls. Pink, look good. It's a good time for the holidays. And a good thing to buy is a firearm. Stop down at SLC Firearms. Check out Mike Matusik, Chris Cartwright, and if you're really lucky during the holidays, you might catch the Grinch down there. Who do you think that would be?
The Grinch?
The
I have
Grinch.
no idea. Who would the Grinch be?
Ricky Epperson. From Coach Dryden and Bill Anderson, Ricky Epperson. This is your shout out of the day.
I'm sure he appreciates
Oh, he loves
Bill.
his good shout out.
Sure.
SLC Firearms inside Shelbyville Lumber, 684-5731, 917 North Main Street. Coach, there's good days for a coaching show, and sometimes there's a great day, and today is a great day for your show.
I agree.
What an outstanding win. I'm going to say something you can't say just real fast.
Okay.
You don't get the two-tour buses when you get to go 15 miles down the road. You don't put up signs on somebody else's roadways. But I will say one thing. I've got a lot of friends in Tullahoma, and they've been very humble. However, they even said, you just hit them in the mouth. What an outstanding job by your staff and your kids. Talk about it.
Well, I mean, it was going back to the what you said just a second ago with the signs and all that. That is those signs coming up the road for them. All that signifies a rivalry. It's not just two teams that maybe don't like each other a few miles down the road. That's a rivalry. When people take it that seriously, that's what you want to play in. And the fact that it was a region championship game and had huge playoff implications and all that. I mean, everything about that game and and all the surrounding environment and everything that went into it was phenomenal. And we came out, we felt really, really good in our game plan on both sides of the ball. They obviously had us scouted up really well on offense because they made some things very, very tough on us. And we've had to go back and take a look and make fixes based on what they did. But there again, it's something we've been doing all year. So that's not necessarily new in and of itself, but defensively, we felt like we could play. And that showed from the very get-go. And
we haven't seen that defense since before the bye week. It was back again. We had our pass rush back.
And what I absolutely loved about that night. Now, nobody loves having a kickoff return.
No.
And, obviously that's been addressed as well this week in practice. But nobody enjoys having a kick return for, the opening kick taken back on them. But to turn right back around, I looked up and down the sideline at our guys, and they had this look on their face like, we're good. And so I'm like, okay. And we go out and we play. And it was good. We had a good response.
Run by Rocky. And Stephen Bobo comes in. You all did some stuff I want you to talk about too. Offensively, that was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
You all had been apparently game planning, scouting, doing some things. It wasn't what Tullahoma expected, was it?
No, we had some wrinkles to throw in. The whole point is for us, and you have to remember, we're still in our second year.
Right.
So we still have kids that are learning the system, and especially offensively, we're so much different than we were before we took over with either Coach Palmer or Coach Puckett, that they're still learning the ins and outs of the system. So we have hung our hat on our foundation and our base plays and base concepts and those kind of things. And the bye week allowed us to start to look at installing a few things, and we're repping them. And so we were, we didn't know for sure when it was going to come out. It very easily could have been the Lincoln County game. It could have been the Lawrence County game. It could have been, it could have been this week, whenever those things came out. We didn't know based on situation and scouting report, things like that. And it just so happened that it be Tullahoma, and it hit at the right time. But it's just taking advantage of the kids that you have and what they can do and putting them in the right position.
No matter what happened here, your defense was dominant. Mm-hmm. Rocky ties the game at 7. Radon Crenshaw has 2 huge tackles on that next drive. Then we get the ball back. There's a nice screen to 3 for 27 yards. Mm-hmm. Rocky Chandler on the next series makes a huge play on 4th and 2 that Thomas and I talked about. That was a college tackle.
Yep.
Rocky Chandler blows that guy up on 4th and 2. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
comes through a lead block to make a tackle,
Yeah.
a picture perfect tackle for a loss, and I mean, we can't ever speak highly enough of that young man. And and he has become the rule rather than the exception for that
Right.
defense overall, because they are constantly working to get better at what they do. And we all know we've made mistakes in coverages on the back end, we've made mistakes in fits on the front end, and all that. But the one common thread through it all is that they show up to practice every day wanting and working to get better. And so we're finally starting to see that. We were more healthy on the defense this week than we had been in the last 3 or 4. And it truly showed.
William Bobo gets the pick 6 with
Mm-hmm.
122 to go. How much better has William gotten offensively and defensively?
Yeah.
That pick 6 was huge. And I think the Tullahoma quarterback after the pick 6 was rattled. And I think he stayed rattled the rest of the game.
Well, I mean, William made a good play on the ball. He read what was happening. And he has, like you said, he has gotten better and better each week. And he may, on that defensive side of the ball, he very well might be the most improved starter on that side of the ball. And with his brother being a close second. And that's saying a lot, because when he came into this thing, he was okay to start. I mean, he was better than okay to start with. And he's just gotten better and better to where he's becoming.
You can just watch him grow every week.
And he's become a solidifying factor in that back end over the time. So we're excited about what he brings to the table.
Get into the second half. I want to talk about DeLauder a minute. I thought he was outstanding. The difference was he makes the nice pass to William for a touchdown. You go up 21-7.
Yep.
Then he comes back, those pick 6.
He does.
But it doesn't bother him. He came right back and played football. Then you have another negative happen. Stephen Bobo muffs a punt.
Mm-hmm.
What does Stephen do? It doesn't bother Stephen. Stephen comes right back, makes 2 plays on defense to help you get off the field.
Right.
Hats off to both those kids. You make a mistake, you move on to the next play.
Right. We talk about it all the time, and we not only talk about it, but it ends up getting repped in practice. You make a mistake, you got to clear it out. We just call it a snap and clear. And that's one of the things that a lot of our guys do well. They do not dwell. They find the
You're not
mistake.
thinking about the last play.
So just as an example, Nathan throws that pick, comes off. You could tell he's upset about it, but not showing it so much in his body language as just his face, which we get the close up on that.
Right.
And Coach Barnes grabs him, walks him back through it, shows him on the replay that we have on the sideline, shows him through. Okay, here's the decision that should have been made when you saw this happen. Now let's go play again. And I think it's that mindset that we bring is, it starts with our coaching staff, that none of us tend to lose our minds when mistakes happen. We look for the fixes in those and how to correct it without throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. So the kids have become accustomed to that. And then it goes back to what we've talked about in the past, which is the self-correction. A lot of times they know what it is that they've done, and they just need the reinforcement on, okay, coach, that's what I was thinking, but just wanted to make sure. And so that happens all the time as well. And then with Steven, he's such a competitor. He doesn't necessarily dwell on the past, but he'll do whatever he has to not repeat the mistake. Right. And even in that, you had guys that I'm sure from the stands, it looked like were getting onto him, but that's not what was going on. It was more of a, we got this, don't get down kind of intense conversation. And then he turns around and makes 2 great plays. So that's who we want our young men to be. And they showed us that's who they could be on Thursday night.
Huge run by DeLauder was a key in the game. It's on Max Prep's part of the highlights where he makes that great run. Yeah. That was a big play for us.
It was. And he's been doing that in critical situations for us all year.
Yep.
It goes back to play design, play call, and then execution. And if the offensive line doesn't execute the way they do, that play doesn't go. And so it's just a big piece of the puzzle for us.
Tyson Dunn, don't mention him enough. I thought on 4th and 20, you moved him around a little bit. Tyson Dunn had a really nice game on defense for you, Coach.
He did. He got to all night, instead of having to be like a ultra disciplined football player at outside linebacker, he got to put his hand in the dirt and just go.
I looked good.
And he looked really dang good. Really good. He fit right in there well with Tarvis and Radon. So made a couple of great plays himself, came away with the sack. I mean, it was a good move.
Good move.
Down there.
And at the end of the game, who's better than Radon Crenshaw? 2 more touchdowns at the end of the game. Plays on defense, plays on offense. But at the end of the game, if you need a baller, it's Radon Crenshaw.
Right. I mean, he's gonna give you everything he has, and it's hard to bring him down. There's nobody bringing him down one-on-one unless they go down and bite his ankles and he trips. And that's a big thing. And it's both sides of the ball. And our guys up front love blocking for him because they know that at the end of the day, he's a kindred spirit.
Yes.
He's a banger, and he'll get in there and wage war with them. So they're excited.
And I thought William Bailey, you could tell he's not all the way healthy, but he came out and gave it for you.
Mm-hmm. He did. He's getting better. His ability to make a cut is coming back. It's just not he wasn't able to accelerate very well Thursday night, so he was limited. But you can tell he's slowly coming back in and progressing. So we're hopeful. We're hopeful for this week, but definitely hopeful for if we can get through this week without him and win, then we're hoping that the following week he'll be ready to go.
Good. Any update on LeBron?
He's practiced all week
in
full reps and full participation.
Good.
So we're getting him back.
Any other injuries you had out of this game?
Not that have been made aware to me beyond the normal bumps and bruises.
Right.
So
this time of the year. Mm-hmm. Well, today's show is brought to you by SLC Firearms inside Shelbyville Lumber. You go to plumbing, you hang a right, and you're there. If you're lucky, you can see Rick Epperson, my man. But ask for Mike Matusi, Chris Cartwright, they'll hook you up. And it's holiday season coming up, and they've got all sorts of stuff down there from Hornady ammo. They've got hunting seasons coming up. Might want a new rifle, might want a new muzzle loader. And if they don't have it, they'll get it for you pretty quick. Coach, looking at some scores, and we'll move on to the playoffs here. You won 34-14. Columbia beats Lincoln County 35-19. Franklin County, who made the playoffs, and at one point they were like 1-6. They win 29-22. Your other region, Centennial beat Hillsboro, our opponent, 48-13. Page beats Nolensville 45-14. You're facing Hillsboro. Buddy of mine sent me some film. They're big. They're fast.
They're big and they're fast. You're correct.
You got a ball game.
We do, and it's a tough matchup for us. They that size and that speed together in an offense is hard to deal with sometimes. And we're more fast than we are big on our defensive line and at linebackers. So that's going to be an issue for us. On the offensive side of the ball, they bring a load up front as well, and they've got some speed in the back end that that matches up with Micah and William and LeBron and those guys a little bit better than what we've seen. So it's going to be a tough one. I don't care if they're the 4 seed or not.
I don't either. A good 4 seed.
Every team in the playoffs is the best team,
especially coming out of that region.
Yep. And
I will say this: how important is it for Eagle Nation to get out like they did last Thursday night? That crowd, Coach, was awesome. The place was electric. Tullahoma brought their people. But that stadium was louder than I've heard in years.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we've got to have. That kind of support, that kind of crowd, that kind of involvement in the game from that can turn a game. And there's a lot to that. And so, it is huge for them to come out and support these young men that have done nothing more than bust their tails and shown a gritty, hard-nosed, tough nature all year. They're fun to watch play, and because they play so hard from the first kickoff to the final horn, and we could use anyone and everyone coming out.
Tell me a little bit about what does Hillsboro do offensively and defensively?
They base in the running game, kind of your spread run. They'll do some wildcat with a big old tailback they've got who on film. I haven't checked the roster yet, but he's every bit of 6'6'1" and probably a good 230, 235 or more, and runs hard and gets downhill. So they'll do some stuff there. They'll get more of your formations like you see us use at times, and they'll run off tackle. They'll try to get outside on you a little bit, and then the quarterback has got some athleticism to him and throws a decent ball. He can run a little bit. He can. So that's all in there as well. So
defensively, what do they bring?
Defensively, they're like I said, they're big up front, so they're going to be hard to move. They flow well at linebacker, and then their back end is as athletic as us. So we're going to have to do what we do better than what they do. what they do. So
play like you played last Thursday night, you're gonna be fine.
That's it, because that's what allowed us to come out on top against Tullahoma. Is we actually, for the first time all year, with the exception of of one kickoff and one punt, we played in all three phases of the game exceptionally well, and it's got to be that kind. So all
now,
we
did
practice,
nearly give up another kickoff on another play, nearly did.
And
But that kid's pretty good.
Oh, he is, and he's
good.
One of the better returners we've seen. But at the same time, we did a couple of things throughout the execution of the kickoff that allowed that to happen.
Right.
And they've been, like I said, they've been addressed. So we have to play as well and replicate everything that we did last week going into that game. We've got to be able to replicate it on
Coach,
Friday
are we
night.
getting any region championship shirts or anything around here?
Man, they are. I don't know where they're at. So it's a
nice
way to call me
nice
out right now.
Region.
Yeah, I mean
it's nice to win the region.
It is a nice win,
and it's
region,
great to beat Tullahoma, and a great day for a coach's show.
I agree.
This was an outstanding win for your kids, for you, and Eagle Nation coming out the way they did was impressive. I don't think there was an empty seat on either side of that stadium, and there was people all the way around the fence.
Yeah, it's. I was told that it's. I rarely am able to see our, know what our crowd looks like or anything like that, and I was told that it was packed.
Those people haven't been there in years.
Well, that's good. They
coming back out,
right on back out.
And they
this
need to
week,
come back out this Friday night at 7:00. Shelbyville plays Hillsboro, and I don't know if you caught the show Saturday morning, but the Williamson County athletic director. Boy, that was kind of. I bet the coaches in Williamson County ain't real happy about what he had to say.
I don't know. That's all on them. I mean,
because I will say this: Nolansville going to Tullahoma is no easy task. No. I predict Tullahoma plays better. A lot better. In fact, I think Tullahoma beats them.
It'll be a tight game.
And Columbia's not a joke either. Those athletes.
And if Columbia plays as well as they can, it's going to be a fight for Centennial.
I think so too.
And I'm going to tell you, even the Franklin County Page game, it's two different styles of offense and defense coming at each other. So
and you scrimmage Page, Page well. You and the coach are buddies.
Yep. And they, obviously they're well coached, and they're very systematic and very disciplined in what they do. But Franklin County has some dudes on that team, and so who knows? You get Franklin County gets one of those athletes out in space. Nobody on Page's team is going to catch him.
I will keep in mind, boys. The Williamson County athletic director said Centennial was better off on Tate Matthews' show getting that second sheet to hit Shelbyville if they could, and he did say it.
Yeah,
that's bulletin board material.
I know it. That is, that's on them.
I know it's not on us; it's on them.
We got to prepare either way. The emotions are going to be there one way or the other. So
the only thing that matters is Hillsboro.
Yeah, that's
and it's Friday night.
You are correct.
And we need a crowd. We need you to come out to Central High School. Be there. Don't listen to it on the radio. Don't wait for the Saturday morning show. Come out and support these boys, and let's get a playoff win. Because the road here, Coach, here's the beauty. It comes through us. If you're going to beat Shelbyville, you're going to have to do it in Shelbyville.
Yep, I agree.
And that's huge.
Yep, it's enormous, and that's what, especially in an odd year, it's so important to win your region because you host all the way through to the state championship. So that's it was big. I mean, that game last week had a lot of implications to it, and it's great to have come out on top.
For Coach Jud Dryden, I'm Bill Anderson. And Ricky Epperson says, a pleasant good evening, and we'll see you guys right here next week after a